the left. The problem is that they come up with these things like affirmative consent. Does anyone know what affirmative consent is? No, it hasn't quite reached Alabama, thank God. It's this sort of weird Orwellian kind of thing. You know, it's basically the joke is, you know, you have to sort of ask for consent between every thrust. And can you imagine anything more awful? Any more of a boner shrinker than somebody getting out a contract or an app? There's an app for it now. There's a consent app. What have I given permission for you to do to me? Yes, yes, yes. Maybe, and can we do this? Sex is supposed to be exciting and dangerous and sometimes confusing. And hope to be confusing some of you later. Just kidding, I'm just kidding. It's supposed to be something, you know, ill-defined, something messy, something complicated. And university is where you find out what you're into, who you're into, what you want to do with your body parts. And feminists want to sort of control all of this and inevitably and always come down on the male side of the equation as oppressor and abuser and rapist. It's a remarkable, remarkable way of looking at the world. Seems to me, just because feminists can't get any sex, and want the rest of us, therefore, not to have any either, we shouldn't necessarily take very much of what they say seriously, particularly when they refuse to give men fair trials. Colleges now are instituting kangaroo courts where the burden of evidence seems to boil down to, does she say he did it? And that's really all that some universities require to destroy a man's reputation by ejecting him from his course or sending him to another college entirely. When men are being told that they will be labeled harassers for approaching women in bars or abusers for some sort of drunken misunderstanding, we create a situation where men start to get a bit sick of women entirely. That appears, in fact, to be happening, and there's only one logical course of action. That is retreat. I call it... Isn't she lovely? I call it the Sexodus, and I wrote an article about this that was shared millions of times a little while ago. The rise of feminism has fatally coincided with the rise of video games, internet porn, and sex robots. The sex robots are definitely coming, and with all these options available and the growing perils of real-world relationships, men are simply walking away. And this is happening. If you look at the data, you know, the sort of everyday sexism project that encourages women to, you know, complain when someone wolf whistles them in the street. And the media is obsessed with this thing. They used to write about it all the time. You compare the searches for that to the searches for MGTOW, men going their own way, men who basically are so sick of the fake allegations, the structural unfairness built into the legal system, the lies told to and about them by the media, the endless sociopathic, miserable treatment of men in the media. Masculinity so fragile. I bathe in male tears. All these phrases you see from progressive journalists. So they're basically giving up